2009, the legislature passed a comprehensive lawsuit reform bill. A key component of that legislation was a $400,000 cap on non-economic damages. However, that cap cannot take effect until the state establishes an indemnity fund to cover cases that would exceed that amount. If you are elected, sign legislation that would appropriate state funds to establish this indemnity fund and implement the non-economic damage cap.
Let me say yes, provided we have the funds available to do that. I think that is a very important part of any type of tort reform in the state of Oklahoma and lowering the cost of medical malpractice insurance for our medical community. But as you all know, we had a $1.2 billion budget shortfall this past year. And I got to tell you, we also have a state question on the ballot, State Question 744, which may take another $850 million out of our state budget to go towards education funding. And so, yes, that will be a top priority of mine. But first of all, we got to get our economy back on track. We got to look at our budgetary figures as our revenues come into the state of Oklahoma. And frankly, it all depends upon what happens with State Question 744, because we may have a $2 billion budget shortfall if State Question 744 passes. But yes, that's essential that we do that.
Absolutely. We not only need to find the funding for it, it's a shame that at least a partial payment wasn't made this last year so that we could show good faith that that effort was going to be made. But I think it's also important as governor to work with the legislature to find a permanent funding mechanism, because as damages are paid out, if they get paid out of that fund, we need to make sure we replenish it. So my proposal to make sure that as we go into this next legislative session, that we focus only on two things: reapportionment, redistricting, which is required every 10 years, and then focus on the budget and the budget first, so that we have an opportunity to work with this hole that we're going to be dealing with. Hopefully then we'll be able to find the kinds of dollars that will let us address the priorities of the state and begin to make that kind of investment into that indemnity fund, so that we can let our physicians know that we meant business when that law was passed.